look at this picture, what would you think of this woman? What do you think she's like? And what message is she trying to convey? Hello everybody, this is Chloe and very welcome back to my channel today. Today I'm going to introduce you guys a female Chinese performance artist who has created some great works around the 2000s. So when I first looked at this picture, I was just so astonished by how relentless, how dauntless she seemed to be. It is not simply demonstrated in her facial expression, but also the gesture, the way she exposes her body, like how she confronts the camera, right? So it made me deduce that she might be the kind of person who has a kind of, that kind of empowered woman who has been so brave for her entire life. Her name is He Chengyao and she's born in 1964. And when I look more closely into her life and career, I realize art is actually something for her to overcome her vulnerability and to cure her lifelong trauma, which is majorly caused by her mentally ill mother. So He Chengyao, she actually has a mentally ill mother. It was because when her mother gave birth to her, she was only 19 years old. And back then, she was not married to He Chenyao's father yet. And both of the parents decided to keep the child, so they were fired from the ceramic factory they were working at. And when He Chengyao was 2 years old, her father was taken away because of political reasons. So back to then, her mother has no money, no husband, no one to help, and 3 kids to raise, and also enormous social pressure for her to handle because what she did back then was really controversial. That's when her mother started to become mentally ill. And as He Chengyao recalled, she really feared her mother because she considered her as a kind of lunatic, unpredictable person who would hate people. And there were countless moments which traumatized the young He Chengyao. For example, her mother would like to walk in the public with her upper body naked and followed by a crowd who were constantly mocking, humiliating her. And whenever she saw this, she felt all of the blood will rush onto her head because she felt who were naked was not her mother, it's herself. So that's become the trauma that haunted her for years and years. When she grew up, she tried to disassociate, she tried to escape. Then he gradually realized actually it's not her mother's fault, she was a victim of this social value and social pressure. So, and the buried memories of her mother's always come back to her, like constantly. So at the very moment when she was visiting an installation work, as we can see here, she realized she's not going to escape, she's going to confront it, she's going to face it, she's going to reunite with her mother. So the same year, she went back to her hometown, Chongqing Shi, Rongchangxian, and made a piece of performance artwork with her mother, with her father taking this series of pictures. And we can see those photographs documented the process when she gradually took off her top and put her hands on her mother's shoulder. While the daughter's face was quite heavy, the mother was laughing. She was smiling with such a sense of innocence and naivety, as if she was happy from the bottom of her heart to reunite, and playing with a rotten apple in her hand. And I do feel like this is a series of images of empowerment. And a major stress, although this is a performance artwork, photograph become the primary media for the work to circulate, to be displayed in front of the public, and to be seen by more people. So we can look at the composition of the work, where the artist's head was actually eliminated, and the mother was in focus. So we give her enough focus for the audience to feel what she felt. She was, I mean, not necessarily monumentalized, but she was in focus. We view her as a human. We view her as a normal person. We view her as not a disenfranchised human being, as we always do with mentally ill people. And I feel like this really speaks to the Foucault's argument in Madness and Civilization, where he stressed that the modern way we deal with mentally disabled people is deeply problematic. And I feel I can use the rotten apple as a metaphor right here. And I personally consider this a symbol and a metaphor because we pick out the rotten apple and divide them from the fresh ones, right? Just exactly as the same way we deal with mentally ill people, we take them out and put them in asylum and deprive all of the rights to associate with the community, to live within the community, to earn money and to be taken seriously as a sane human. And as Foucault argued, that's deeply problematic because back to the Renaissance, the so-called insane people were not considered as mad, but different. They got the right to wandering around and constantly remind us that the limitation of the so-called reason. So actually in our narrative, the so-called insane people, they were very much marginalized. So to focus on the artist's mother, a representative of this population, is indeed to empower them to, we can see she's happy and we can feel what she felt, and I feel like that's really, that's really a kind of empowerment. And also is the artist's statement of standing on her mother's side as she took her clothes off, just like her mother. I mean, it's a way of saying she chose to be on the side of all the women who are publicly naked for whatever reason. Although they're naked for a slightly different reason, the mother is partly because of her mental illness. But for the artist, it's a sensible choice. And they touch each other with sentiments and with a sense of support. And this support is actually mutual. It's not just the artist for her mother, but also I feel like when the artist He Chengyao, she was attacked by critics for her to do something erotic, to win the spotlights, to impress. I feel like her mother also functioned as a support for her as well. So that we can see this kind of, it's like tremendous emotional quality in this piece of work. And also, as the artist described herself, she feel like her sense of guilt has alleviated and she understood her mother. And indeed, a lot of her works are related to her mother, or let's say primarily associated with her mother. For example, this work as well is also in response to one of her traumatized experience when her mother was pushed by a group of people from the community trying to save her, the so-called save her, which is again related to the Foucault's concept of, we try to kill them, we try to help them, but we actually disenfranchise them. So they pushed her on the wall and tried to give her acupuncture treatments to make her, become normal. But all He Chengyao could say was her mother crying, screaming, struggling, and bleeding. So yeah, that was one of the traumatized experience. So this work is called 99 Needles. So through putting those needles onto her own body, she felt exactly what her mother felt. And that's a way for her to alleviate her sense of guilt and be closer with her mother. And one unsurprising little fact to conclude. And when she was approached by journalists, she seems to be very intimidated and really impacted by the negative comments she received. And I would like to say that detail made me feel really touched because it tells us it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have fears, because to confront these so-called shameful and taboo family history is very hard. It's very hard for you to revisit all of your trauma and confront them and represent them, right? It's okay to have fears because as long as you choose to take your clothes off, you determined you are gonna return, you're gonna confront the gaze that has exerted enormous harm on you. The moment you choose to put needles on your body, you determined that you are gonna stand on the side of the victim of the society and not to be silent, not to escape anymore. That's rather brave. We can be brave, but also have fears. So that's just what she made me think of. And also the needles were not just put into the artist's body, it's putting into our heart, at least my heart as well. It reminds us whenever we place judgments based on our value or the mainstream social values, we are probably hurting other people in the name of doing good for them, right? So that's something really worth us to think about, because we live in the age of social media. Because we live in the age of social media, and we become increasingly harsher critics on ourselves as well as other people. So I feel like her work, although she haven't done much performance art for the past 20 years, and all these works were back 20 years ago, it still resonates today. Like, it's still meaningful for us. It tells us how to be brave, how to be a brave woman, as well as tell us that we have the right to display our body wherever, whenever, in whatever way we wanted it to be. So yeah, I feel like this work to be really touching, and it's not just about a personal trauma or history. It's a microcosm of the society as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.